Welcome, everybody. I am Michelle Hayward. I'm founder of Positive Hire. We're an early stage tech startup, and I'll get into that in a minute. But welcome back for those of you that joined for last month's session. We were talking about networking virtually. Today, we're going to be talking about really 5 steps to networking. And this can work whether it's virtually or IRL in real life, which most of us are not doing right now. So it's really good to go about and practice it virtually and think about how you would execute it in person. So, um, interesting. So we will get started um, with first of all, I always like to start my sessions with people literally dropping in your LinkedIn link, um, telling a bit about yourself, like what do you like to be called, and maybe what industry or your job title so people can connect with you. And that way you're already connecting early on. And it's something you can do in every virtual space is literally come in and say, hi, I'm Michelle. Back in the day, a few years ago, I would have said project manager in heavy construction, and here's my LinkedIn link. And that way, it gave people an automatic way to connect with me in the beginning. And so you can do that in virtual spaces, even with nothing but strangers. So I highly encourage you to do that whenever you get a chance. Okay? So we are going to jump in. This should take the hour because we actually get to network. So if you weren't here for the last session, what I did was actually have the ladies network, and it was surprising to them that they had to network. Like, oh, you thought you just got to show up. So you don't have to turn on your cameras, but I do ask you to turn on your audio. Um, and that way we are able to engage with you and have a good time. And we'll do, I think, maybe 2 to 3 exercises. Uh, there we go. Do we have a question? Or are you putting introducing yourself? Okay, great. I love it. Have a couple people coming in to join us right now. All right, great. All right, so these are 5 steps to growing your network. And these are things you can do virtually and in person, as I already said. What you'll learn is who is Michelle Hayward, and I am Michelle Hayward. So I'll learn a little bit about me, why network in real life and virtually, how to create networking goals, 5 steps to networking. Then we're gonna let's network virtually, and then we'll talk about next steps, actions you can literally take um, tonight to start networking more impactfully, more strategically. So a bit about me. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering, Master's degree in Industrial Management from Clemson University here in South Carolina. I've worked in technology transfer, technical sales, but I spent the bulk of my career as a project manager, engineer, so forth the in the construction space, but more specifically in high voltage transmission line new construction. So I built the power grid. Um, Good and bad to it, but that was part of my story and my history. So definitely, we'll talk about that if you are a civil engineer and doing construction, or maybe you're in energy and that's something you do. So my startup is called Positive Hire. We specifically look at working with experienced Black, Latina, and Indigenous women who are STEM professionals. So engineers, scientists, technologists, mathematicians. A lot of times today are data scientists, right? And that's a little bit new. When I came out 20 years ago, like what? I have no clue. So things do change, and we do see shifts in the marketplace. So I love it. So let's talk about why network virtually. Um, and in real life, you really get the opportunity to stand out. Oftentimes, for many of us, if you're a STEM professional, engineer, scientist in tech, you are one of few, or you're the only one, and you may be often overlooked or ignored. And what that can do is impede your ability to advance because they see you, but they don't know what you do and what value you bring to an organization. So what this allows you to do when you network is truly stand out and really get to be seen as well as heard. I often say networking, but you also get to connect with people. And when I say connect with people, it's on a deeper level. So oftentimes you can connect if you're parent to parent, maybe pet owner to pet owner. Sports are a great way to also connect with other people, even regions of the country. I've been out in Illinois and Missouri building the power grid, and there I'm from ACC, so football country or college sports, and there were other people from the ACC and SEC, so we could trash talk. We bonded over sports, and I absolutely hate sports, but it was a way to connect with people. You also get to grow your network. And so, what often happens is we are looking for a way in, we're trying to get information about something, and our network is very, very small. But if you're very strategic about it, you can grow your network, which in the long term may help you professionally and personally. And it was something I learned from my mother. I don't know if y'all have a mother like I do. Whenever I would go off to do an internship or apprenticeship, she would pick up the phone and start calling people in the family. And she would always find somebody that was nearby in whether I lived in Pittsburgh or when I lived in Massachusetts. So she felt better, and I had somebody on the ground near where I was going to be in this new area. So she would always, old school, picking up the phone and calling people in the family until she found somebody, whether it was a third cousin removed in order to connect with. Okay, so it was really, really good to have that opportunity. Okay, then you build social currency, and what I mean by this is people now know more about you. They know what you bring to an organization, to your community, and on a personal and professional level. And this, in turns, can build your social currency, as they often say. They come to you for your level of expertise and experience because they know more about you. So it can help in that way as well. So when I talk about the 5 steps to growing your network, we're going to specifically talk about setting networking goals, identify titles or positions, find events to attend. And right now you may be zoomed out, go to webinar it out, whatever it is, however you're connecting with people virtually right now. But think about this in the long term as well. Research presenters and or attendees, we'll talk about that, and then participate in the event, which is going to be truly pivotal and the most important part of this, because some of this stuff you can do on the fly. So I don't know if any of you are in tech. Last week was Grace Hopper celebration, which is a huge women in tech conference, which has been now in like the last 10 years has 10x from like 2,700 women to 27,000, I think was the last count. Then maybe you're in energy, ABB, I want to say it's African Americans, something in energy. Association for, I forget what the B is, how it goes, but it's for black professionals in energy here in the US. And they were doing a summer series of webinars. So again, you don't always like, this is a Zoom meeting, so you can always turn off your cameras, but in webinars, you don't necessarily get the opportunity to see somebody face to face other than a person or people presenting or talking. So smaller events give you the ability to oftentimes connect better than larger events or where they have true webinar format. But whatever it is, it still gives you the opportunity, like you're doing right now, which is introducing yourself with your first name or name you like to be called by in the chat, your LinkedIn link so people can connect with you, as well as a bit about what industry you're in or how do you help people. So if you're just joining or if you've already put it in the chat, copy it and paste it because we have a lot of people that have joined. And so one thing about Zoom, if you post something in the chat and people join or they leave out and come back, they cannot see those comments. So that is very different for a lot of people. So how to create networking goals. You really want to see what are you trying to achieve in the next maybe 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, maybe it's 5 years from now. Maybe 5 years from now, you want to be the VP of technology in an organization. And so you may now figure out, okay, well, I need to figure out, start networking and building that network. So I'm going to look at job titles and career opportunities um, at an organization or a small group of 5, 10, 20 organizations. You could decide you want to get speaking opportunities and you're trying to position yourself as someone who is knowledgeable and should be compensated for speaking on a stage. You want to expand your personal brand. You have a LinkedIn profile, maybe you're on Twitter having tweet storms, but people don't necessarily gravitate to your online presence and they really want to, and you really want to grow and be seen as somebody to reach out to talk about Internet of Things. You want to launch a new business. You're going to keep your day job, but you also want to launch maybe a civil engineering design services firm or some type of machining or drafting company to help small businesses. And you're trying to figure out how best to do that. And one of the great ways is networking. Maybe you're already in business and you want to gain new customers. So, business people, we're always out networking, and meaning we're getting to know people, listening to what people have to say so we understand their problems. And maybe we know somebody in our network who can help them with that problem. So, when you set your goals, you only want to select 2 to 3 goals. Is it a new job? Maybe you're looking for an ally in your industry or workplace. You want to sponsor. And what I mean by sponsor, somebody in your office or division, business unit, industry who can literally um, remove barriers to you getting to where you want to be. You want to raise your personal brand. You just want to build your network. Maybe you're looking to collect data. And what I mean by data, I previously said you want to know what problems people are having, and that's data. What are problems? Maybe you're looking at what solutions people have. Like, my dog hates XYZ type of food. I'm trying to figure out how to find better dog food, right? Or how to make my own dog food for my dog so I don't have to clean up after them so often. And so that's something that you can look at as collecting data. You want to connect with the C suite. And oftentimes they are at a lot of events. They don't want to talk business because everybody's trying to sell them something. And maybe you just want to like really just meet them in person and say, I loved X, Y, and Z. And that's really how you're connecting with them. Okay? Can you put, oh, okay. And positioning. Maybe you're looking to change your position. Maybe you have only been thought of as the go to engineer, but now you want to position yourself for a leadership role. And this is a great way to do it is via networking. Now, we're going to say one of your goals right now is specifically to get a new job, right? So you're looking to identify title and positions of people you would like to network with. So who do you want to connect with at this event? Are you looking to connect with others who are the next level up to where you want to go? People at the same level you are at, people who are owners of businesses, of startups, or small businesses, or maybe C suite or executives in a larger organization. What are those job titles that you're going to target for that, right? What are what are the job titles? And sometimes it's military, maybe it's some at a certain rank because you're at an organization that literally services the military. And so you're looking to find out who they are. So, how do you find them? And one of the best ways to find them really is LinkedIn. LinkedIn has come a long way. If you've been on there like me for more than 10 years, it has come a long way in being able to find them. So in the chat, what I want you to do for me is put in a job title of somebody you would like to connect with. And we're going to actually go through and do an exercise on it. So you're going to identify who do you want to connect with at the event. And you may have a particular person, like you already know by name who they are. Other times you don't have a name, you just know titles and ranks. And lastly, how do you find them? LinkedIn is a great way to go. You want to go to company websites. You can also go to organizations' website. So what do I mean by organizations? There's IEEE, Institute for what? Electrical and Electromagnetic Engineers. And you want to see who the board members are. You want to see who are the corporate partners and who from the corporate partners are the lead people to connect with those organizations. So you literally, it's not as hard. 20, 25 years ago, this is way more work. Right now, it is not nearly as difficult to find out this information. So if somebody drop any, like none of you have anybody, any job title of anybody you want to talk to, let's see. What do we have? Grant writer or editor. Ooh, I like that. So let's go. I like editor. Let's go with editor. What So we're gonna do one broad search in LinkedIn, which is editor. And in this editor search, we're going to go down to where it says editor in people. And that means in people mean in their name, in their job titles. What I usually do from here is I'll look to see who are my first level connections who are already editors. And then I'll go and look. Um, and actually, I have quite a few who are already editors. So this is way more people than I thought. But maybe I want to narrow it down by somebody who's in the Washington, D.C. area. And so I go from 224, now I'm down to 26. So the more specific you can get, the even better. And then, of course, you can go to all filters. And then maybe in all filters, I'm looking for somebody who has went to a certain college. So let's say they went to Howard University. Then I'm gonna click apply, and like I really want a niche, and I have nobody. So that didn't work out too well. But the more specific you can be, maybe it's not a particular, it probably won't be a particular school sometimes, and maybe they work at a particular company. And let's say they're at GE, and we'll just see if somebody pops up from GE. Two people that have editor in their title, and they work at or for GE at some point in time. So you can literally try to get as specific as you can with those job titles and find out if that person has worked at a particular employer. And we're gonna delve in a little bit deeper into this as well to see how you can go about it. Oh, you want a scientific editor? Okay. She was like, yeah, you did. I did too much. So let's see if I can spell scientific tonight. And go back to people. Let's see if I have any that are first level connections. And I may just want to go to the first level connections and ask them, hey, do you know of any events? Because if you have people in your network, you can clearly ask them about events. And then I want to scroll down here. Let me close this back. I want to go to title, and I'm going to put in scientific. Nothing showed up. I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to go back to all filters, and I'm just going to put in scientific and apply. So that gives me 3,000. I'm just going to go to second level connections, and that gives me 54 scientific writers or editors to connect with, maybe 54. LinkedIn is a little bit screwy, so this does say current is scientific editor. So these are particular people I could network with online. I could go look at their profile, see where they're commenting on and what events they may be attending. So you can do your research on these scientific editors for before you even get to the event. So it makes your life a little bit easier when it comes to networking with them. All right, let me check time. All right, let me speed this up. All right, find events to attend. LinkedIn is a great place to find events. Why? Because many of you are probably invited to this webinar via LinkedIn. Yes, I love LinkedIn. I do this all day on LinkedIn. Another way is hashtags, and I'm gonna go back to LinkedIn and show you that as well. Professional organizations. I showed you AABE, and that so different associations host. They may now host virtual weekly or monthly meetings. Their national or regional events are virtual. You can go to a company website and they're promoting their virtual events as well. And you can use your current network to also find virtual events. So, what I mean by, let's go back one. What do I mean by going to using hashtags? So, Grace Hopper and some of the other, a lot of organizations use hashtags. And you will see people use hashtags off of Twitter. You may be like, oh, you only use hashtags on Instagram. No, these hashtags you still will see over here on LinkedIn. And so GHC 20, Grace Hopper Celebration 20, because it's 2020, however you feel about it. And you can go through here and see what who's speaking. People who are liking and commenting is huge, because if people are commenting, I especially like the part where she said X, like, oh, you're a software quality assurance team lead, I need to connect with you, that's a career I want to, or a role I want. And now you literally can start commenting on here, replying to this comment, and sending the person a connection request even though the event's over. And let's say they commented before because they were really excited about hearing the speaker, that you could still say, oh my God, you're going to be there too, I'm looking forward to attending as well, let's connect. Or I'm sending you a connection request, we should connect because I love her too. And literally you're building your network from something very small, very common, and is somebody you're looking on an event you're attending, but an actual keynote speaker. So these are great ways to go about doing it. LinkedIn is getting better with hashtags, so you can follow it. Follow those hashtags as well. There's 1,572 people following this hashtag. And so it is a great opportunity really to go through and scroll and see what's going on. A lot of brands are sharing it, but what you'll also see is my daughter experience of Coursera being shared by Com. She's been selected to network and get more recruits for Coursera. And you're like, wait, who's your daughter? So now you're going to try to connect with his daughter. You connect with him too, like, ooh, what do? You're the chief financial officer. You somebody in the C-suite. Let me connect with you too. I like how dad is promoting his daughter, right? So you can still build out your network. And so, like my dad just go to the barbershop and show the newspaper clipping, when I was in the newspaper. So there are different ways and different reasons to connect with people all over the space. So definitely use these opportunities to connect with people virtually and then tie it over to an event you're going to attend. And trust me, this doesn't just happen because the event went virtual. This still happens when the events are in real life, or IRL. So don't think we just started this. So if you don't know which hashtags to use, you want to go to that event's website or Twitter account, LinkedIn account, and see which hashtags they're using. Like if you were using NSB, National Society of Black Engineers, I think we're at year 45 for the convention. And so you have to know which year, because it doesn't coordinate the year we're living in. It coordinates its number by the number of years it has actually had its conference, national convention. So it's good to go check out and see which hashtags are being used when it comes to hashtags. It's not always intuitive, unfortunately. Okay, so let's jump back in here and we'll get to the exercises in like 5 minutes, I promise. So you also want to research presenters and or attendees. So you can Google them. Of course, I showed you can use LinkedIn. You can also use organizations directory. So what I mean by that, organizations will have their members speak. And so you can go through directories. Some people like their information, some of their information, at least public, to organizations. if the person is speaking to your at your company, sometimes their information is in your intranet, or is that you're doing a virtual brown bag lunch. That's what it is, brown bag lunch. And so you can learn about the person internally on your intranet at work, and also via your network. Who knows? Hey Michelle, I see you're connected to the former CEO of Xerox, Ursula Burns. I wish I was, y'all. I wish I was. What can you tell me about her? Like, what is her favorite sweet treat, or does she like salty? Like, what's her favorite beverage? Like, something really small and simple about her that you can bring up. Or what's her pet name? Does she have a pet? And really use your network to learn more about presenters and attendees so that when you meet them and you approach them, you know more about them. Something I would highly encourage you to do when you're researching people, like we just did the hashtag, and you're connected with them before the event, ask them to meet you for lunch one day, meet you for coffee chat one day, just 5, 10, 15 minutes at this 3 or 4 day event, so that you actually go deeper and really make time for them. And you can use something like Calendly to pre-schedule people, like, hey, let's set up a time to meet. um, Conferences get very, very busy, and it can be more difficult. So the sooner you do it at the conference, if you get there early, if you're going to be staying late, and they are too, you can set it up as well. But it can be really difficult once the conference starts going. But it's definitely worth a try. I've done it on the fly using Twitter, just setting up uh, coffee dates or meeting somebody for lunch at Grace Hopper, actually. So you want step number 5, you want to participate in the event. So now that you're there, you're having coffee, like, yes, I'm here. Oh shoot, I gotta talk to these people. I got you. That's usually the hardest part, is what to say. So you want to talk about current industry trends, maybe that's going on. Topic of discussion, like what's going on in pop culture, what's going on in the news, sports, politics, the stock market, global. If you're a global organization, maybe you're international, right? You're saying, telling people what's going on in the U.S. or vice versa. Your area of expertise. What is your area of expertise? We have a scientific editor, and you're talking about how so many PhDs don't under in chemistry don't understand X, Y, and Z, and you really help them hone in on their PhDs and their white paper, not their dissertations rather, and their white papers, so that it is translatable to people who are non PhDs in that specific niche, understand what the hell they talking about, right? And you like, I have 3 simple rules on how I do it, and you really just talk about your area of expertise. Commonalities are something personable that I have. Whenever I've done a Christmas party, I always have people buy a gift, their favorite gift from when they were a kid, and literally, or tell about their first car they had. Maybe it was a pet. Are they an only child, one of many children, one of few children? Like, where are they in birth order? So it's really good to get some commonalities in something personal. Lastly, best practice in case studies. You can still go back to the technical side. Oh, I read your white paper. I saw in this case study you said X, Y, and Z, or in a similar case study, they said X, Y, and Z. What are your thoughts on that? So you can use these are things or starter points to come up with questions to ask when you meet these people. So now is the fun part. So we are going to do exercises from here on out to let all of you network internally. Within this live session, I'm going to break you up into groups. Aren't you excited? Aren't you excited? So why do I do this? Is so you actually get to practice what is taught, and it really helps you hone in, like, oh, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to break you out into groups of 3. We're going to have one group of 4, and I'll give you 5 minutes, and I will share the questions you're going to talk about. Again, where did I put them? Are going to be these questions. Uh, Zoom is not helping me tonight. Let's go back to, and we're going to do this a few times. So it'll get, I promise it usually gets easier the more you do it. So you don't have to come off camera, but you do have to come on to the mic. That is the only rule to this. And you have to participate because it's the only way you're actually going to get better. And we lost one person. We lost one person last time. I guess they don't want to talk. Okay, so what do you want to talk about is share with your partner or partners this time 3 of your strengths. Share a specific moment you felt powerless, and now then you're going to share a specific moment your strengths led the way in a situation. And so they're very broad because I want you to talk however you want to lead this discussion. Do not overthink this. You're not being graded. I promise you on that. But I do want you to go through and really participate. And we're going to do actually 6 groups of 2s. And I'll still give you probably 5 minutes to do this. And I will drop the questions in to Messenger into the chat so you'll get those. So let me pull up breakout rooms, and you'll all go into breakout rooms, create up to 6 breakout rooms because it's 12 of you now. And I'm picking these randomly. So blame it on Zoom software developers. Here you go. Okay, so we have done the fun part. You missed it, you weren't here, but you can still use these same steps to move ahead and make connections here in the real world. Now, what I'm going to do is, what do you really need to do to move ahead, take the next step, to jump in and literally start building your network in these 5 easy steps? It's really a strategy that you can deploy every single day or for any and every event where you want to network with people. As soon as Zoom and I get it together, because it is fighting with me right now, I will share with you the last slides. Also, be sure to drop in your LinkedIn link so that other people can connect with you tonight. So what are the next steps? What should you be doing? What can you do to take this information and move forward? And definitely screenshot this if you like, you know what, I'm about to really do this. Okay, so you're really creating a strategy. I wrote down a strategy literally in just 5 easy steps. The type of event you want to attend, identify the target job titles for the people you want to connect with, research those target people, create dialogue options. I gave you some questions, also went through like whether it's white papers, what's going on in pop culture that you could talk about. So come up with some dialogue options or points and get noticed. Actually have those discussions. Maybe it's in one of the speakers' sessions. You stand up and you ask a question to get noticed as well. And so you just want to really have this strategy in place and ready to go. All right. Hey, Joy. So it's also important to have a follow-up after the event. You want to connect online, you want to connect offline. So that's old school business card. Maybe you're airdropping each other and connecting, right? If you have iPhones. I don't know what y'all do on Android, how y'all connect on Android, but that's what we do over here on the Mac side. You can schedule a time to talk offline, and you can put reminders on your calendar to follow up with people and have virtual coffees, in-person coffees. See if they're going to the regional conference and maybe not the national, or maybe they're in your local chapter and you really want to catch up with them. So put those follow-ups in there and continue to build that relationship with the people you connect with at these events. In the next 7 to 21 days, these are some things you can do if I want to go back to them right quick. Find 3 virtual events to attend. You can go to LinkedIn, Eventbrite, meetups. Having meetups is a great way to also find virtual events right now. Your local paper, Facebook events, Twitter is a great place to also find events to attend. Schedule each event in your calendar. Customize your URL. So if your LinkedIn URL is in dash 8593 ABCDEFG elemental P, customize that. It's a quick, easy, and free way you can do it over on LinkedIn. Just say custom URL in Google, and it'll send you to customize your LinkedIn URL rather, and it should send you to the LinkedIn steps on how you can do it. You want to go through and research your speakers. You want to create 3 to 5 questions to ask or discussion points to bring about, and then you create your written or verbal pitch. Many of you already have one. Martina talked about being expert in STEM education, and she could literally talk about, hi, Martina, I work in STEM education and scientific communications, helping scientists and engineers clearly clearly now writing topics about engineering, specifically in biomedical or whatever that is, and just have that pitch real clear and crisp, not what I just did. Okay. And if you haven't already, you can connect with me all of these places. I put a C in there because somebody on Facebook already took Michelle Hayward, so I had to use my middle initial because it's the only place I couldn't get Michelle Hayward. Who knows? But I'm all on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And if you have questions, you can always hit me up at info@positivehire.co as well. And this replay will be available next week on the positivehire.co, not .com, .co/blog website. Woo! So you got it. You're good to go. It is quite all right. If you missed any of this, we got you covered.